Midnight Oil from their new album Capricornia, Golden Age. Pretty apt song for our next story, in fact, because to most, Harold Bell Lasseter was nothing more than a fraud, deluded in his quest to find a mythical gold reef that is apparently right in the desert on the WA Territory border, a quest which of course led to his lonely death back in 1931. But to the National Geographic Society, Lasseter wasn't a fraud, and the Society in fact believes there's a chance that his reef exists. And from June, an Australian Geographic expedition will head out from Broken Hill towards Central Australia, where it's going to follow in the footsteps of Lasseter. The expedition will include several members of Lasseter's family, and trip leader Todd spoke with ABC Radio's Stuart Brash, who asked why they're starting from Broken Hill, a town that actually has no connection to the controversial figure.
Well, I mean, Broken Hill was pretty much chosen as a launching point because it was very much a convenient location insofar as we have teams of our members who are joining us in this expedition coming from Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia. So it was a convenient location, but we are definitely moving over to the whole Peterman Ranges and following his footsteps when we get there.
Lasseter's got a very mixed sort of heritage, you might say, because for many he was a fraud who took people's money and was just following an impossible dream.
Yeah, I guess you're always going to have that, and I guess part of the legend is that, well, you know, is there really a reef out there? Was he taking advantage of people or things like that? But I think one of the most important points to remember is this man died with this dream. He certainly believed it himself. And I guess it's dreams what make people chase after goals, and sometimes they turn out to be a reality and sometimes they don't. But certainly he believed in it so strongly that he went out many, many times, and it eventually cost him his life. And my experience with people who are frauds is that they usually give up once they get the money. You know, he certainly had the money, he had the backing of the Australian Workers Union, and he went out.
So you're saying you think there's more than a grain of truth in what he was chasing?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I guess if you just look at the evidence and how far he pushed it, even when the support of his expedition had certainly left him, he still went out alone with his own camels, without support. Now, if someone didn't believe in something, they would not have put themselves into one of the most difficult environments, chasing after something that they knew wasn't there. I just don't think a reasonable person would do it, and I don't think a fraudster would do it either.
There is the essential point there, a reasonable person. Maybe Lasseter wasn't reasonable and he deluded himself.
That's the great thing here. I think anyone who's ever achieved anything is unreasonable. I mean, a reasonable person thinks of all the reasons why you should and you should not do something, and they're good reasons. But an unreasonable person will go after the dream that people think, no, there's actually no way you'll find gold out there, or there's no way you'll do this and you'll do that. But they stick to things, and I think that's when real things are accomplished. But I think more importantly, Australian Geographic really, we find the whole Harold Lasseter story certainly falls into a lot of the ethos which is Australian Geographic. Now, we're all about celebrating famous Australian legendary explorers and so forth, and our ethos is very much adventure, the pioneering spirit of the country. And I think from that perspective, the Harold Lasseter story is certainly very appropriate.
Tell us about his son and daughter. I understand the reports say that they will be travelling with you.
Yeah, now that's an absolutely fantastic thing for us. Obviously, Bob Lasseter, who's Harold's son, was 5 years old at the time. His dad pushed out on his expedition. He's over 70 now. Now he's coming along with us. He has spent a long time and a lot of expeditions in this particular country, covering certain aspects of his dad's expedition. But also, more importantly, we have Joy McClure, who is Harold Lasseter's daughter, who's never actually visited her father's gravesite. So it's going to be a fairly emotional time. And also coming along with Joy are Vicky and Alan, which are Harold Lasseter's grandchildren. So, we've got quite a showing from the Lasseter family.
Now, are you actually going to look for the reef?
No, I just want to be clear on this. We're not actually looking for the reef. We're more following in his footsteps and celebrating the journey that he made and so forth. But we're certainly not looking for the gold.
So you'll travel from Broken Hill. Will you come across the Simpson Desert and then into Central Australia proper?
Yeah, we're tracking along the Simpson Desert, and we're moving out. We're moving out as far as possibly Warburton, and I think it's very important for us to do that because Lasseter, he made, this is what a lot of people don't realise, he actually made several trips into the Peterman Ranges, and on 2 occasions he claimed to have found his reef, and as a result he actually registered these claims as well. But the big problem was that he was very confident of being able to find the reef if he came from the west, moving east. Now, the faithful expedition, the last one in which he died, he moved from the east, moving west, and he was always very, very uncomfortable with that. So, from the aspect of Australian Geographic following his footsteps, we're going to be moving out as west as possible and coming around back into the Peterman Ranges area.
Now, that land out there is Aboriginal land these days. Have you spoken to traditional owners about what they believe about the legend of Lasseter?
Australian Geographic certainly has on previous stories. The first issue of Australian Geographic consulted with the local people quite a lot. Our journalists did that. So yeah, we do have their perspective on the whole thing.
And they're quite happy for you to go wandering around the Peterman Ranges?
We have the permit at the moment from which is being organised with the Central Lands Council.
So tell us exactly where in the Petermans might you go, because it's a fantastic country out there.
Well, it's going to be we're going to be pretty much camped around the Docker River area, and we'll be doing several different day trips around there.
Sounds like a fantastic expedition. And what happens if you happen to stumble upon that gold reef?
Well, I don't know. We haven't really thought about that. So certainly we're not expecting to stumble across it, but we're certainly we really haven't thought about it.
Do you think it's there?
I definitely think it's possible. It's a big country, and it's still a very, very remote part of Australia. Put it this way: would you take a bet that there isn't any gold out there?
Todd Tai hedging his bets in the search for Lasseters gold reef, and that expedition due to start in June this year.